to welcome CEO and President of Visit Florida, Dana Young. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Cheryl, and thanks, Ken and Jim and all of you folks over at Daytona Regional Chamber for having me here today. I hope that your Volusia days is going as well as you had hoped. I know that virtual meetings, you never can really tell, but hopefully we'll be able to pull this one off without a hitch. And so what I'd like to do today is just talk about the impacts that we have seen directly from COVID on our economy and on the tourism industry in Florida. And then I'll talk a little bit about what Visit Florida has been doing and what we are planning to do in the very near future. So with that, let's just start with something that I think most of you are pretty familiar with, and that is the importance of tourism to our state and our state economy. Tourism is our #1 industry in Florida. And prior to the pandemic, Leslie's working on the slides, so don't worry about that. We'll get them up. But just prior to the pandemic, we had capped off 10 straight years of record visitation. We had 131 million people visit our state from other states and countries. They contributed over $91 billion to our economy and supported 1.5 million jobs here in the state. So it's no surprise that in late 2019, as the state economists were looking at these tremendous numbers, the state economists warned that tourism-related revenue losses pose the greatest potential risk to Florida's economic outlook. So here we are, a little over a year later, and we are living that reality. We estimate that, with COVID, roughly 87 million visitors traveled to the state between January and December, which is a reduction of about 34% year over year. But remember that back in sorry about the slides, guys. I'm just going to keep going because I can go with nothing. And hopefully by the time we show the ad, they'll be working. But remember that January, February, and half of March last year were pretty normal. And so, you're looking at a decrease that included one quarter that wasn't too bad. The real numbers are worse. Canada's been, a real sad story for us because we miss our Canadian snowbirds so much. And clearly they are, for the most part, not able to travel. We're down about 64.5%, if you look at Q1, but if you just look at Q2, Q3, and Q4 of 2020, our international visitation is down in the high 90%. So we just are not getting those international visitors here. The U.S. Travel Association, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, they looked at the national impacts of COVID and found that the U.S. has, the travel industry in the U.S. has suffered more than $500 billion in losses due to COVID. And one interesting and sort of heartbreaking statistic is that while tourism and hospitality workers make up about 10% of the overall workforce, they make up about 40% of the unemployment. So you can see that our tourism industry nationwide has been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19 as compared to other industries. So in late 2020, the state economists presented the long-term economic outlook for the state of Florida, noting that Florida's sales tax revenues are down significantly, and these sales tax revenues account for the majority of the budget deficit that we are seeing now. So with tourism generating the most sales tax revenue, the economist explained that the timing and the ability of the tourism industry to rebound from COVID will dictate the timing of the state's economic recovery. So to put that a little bit differently, they're predicting a 2024 recovery. For every little bit that Visit Florida can do to beat that projection, our state economy will recover that much more quickly. So we have an important job and we are very focused on it. So we are, Visit Florida is Florida's official tourism marketing corporation, And we make a positive impact on every Florida family, every Florida taxpayer. And you might ask, well, how? Well, by bringing people here from other states and other countries to spend money here, the majority of the taxes that we would otherwise have to pay as Floridians are paid for by people who don't live here. So our demonstrated track record of success is going to be a driving force in our economic recovery here in Florida. We got our every 3 years, the state economist at the Office of Economic and Demographic Research, state agency, they do an ROI study on Visit Florida. And this year we received the highest ROI that's ever been calculated. For every dollar that the legislature invests in Visit Florida, we return $3.27 back to the state in revenue. So we more than pay for them for ourselves. We make money for the state of Florida, and we have a very important job to do. I don't know about you, but if I had a chance to more than triple my money in an investment, I would take it in a heartbeat. And let's just hope the legislature has the same economic mindset and will continue to support our organization. So while we know we have a long way to go in our recovery, we have seen a few positive signs, and that is always, it's always good to focus on the positive. Preliminary estimates show that 30 million more visitors traveled to our state between Q3 and in Q3 and Q4 than Q2. So after June, we started seeing an uptick, and these positive trends coincide with the launch of our marketing campaigns. So we were waiting for the right time, and once we launched, we started seeing a serious uptick in numbers. So since the pandemic began, my incredible team at Visit Florida has been working nonstop to put together a comprehensive, multi-phased marketing plan aimed at bringing visitors back to the state of Florida. The first phase of our plan was launched in August with our InState travel campaign. We were targeting visitors within the state of Florida. It was time. People were ready to get out and take a road trip within the state. And so we were looking to remind people how proud they should be and how grateful they should be to live in Florida. And even though we had a pandemic to live through, at least we were here. We have so many amazing outdoor activities and wide open spaces and fresh, beautiful coastal breezes. And so we wanted to kind of remind people, instill that sense of pride, and then harness that pride and have people travel around the state, see some new places, and support businesses that were really hurting at the time, and many of which still are. And then as the recovery continued in October, we launched the second phase of our recovery plan, which was targeted to drive markets within 700 miles of Florida. So I know that's a large drive market, but we found that people are willing to travel long distances by car for a Florida vacation. So these are cities like Houston was the farthest west, Nashville, Birmingham, Atlanta, Charlotte, as far north as Philadelphia. You get the picture, key cities in the southeastern United States. Both of these campaigns, so the in-state and the domestic, were tremendously successful. I think they surpassed our wildest imagination. Together, they earned more than 630 million impressions, 302 million for the in-state, 330 million domestic. And then you'll see on this slide for campaign results, see the second and third little horizontal boxes, those were just trips booked through the Expedia platform. So this was not the entirety of the campaign. So on Expedia, for every dollar we spent, we got $134 in bookings. Overall, between the two campaigns, $62.5 million in gross bookings in Florida, 1.14 million room nights sold. And again, that was just from Expedia. So you can see that it was highly successful. One thing that your great tourism folks like George Turner, who I saw in Volusia, one thing that they are very, very involved in with Visit Florida is our cooperative marketing. It's a major component of our rebound strategy because it allows our partners like Volusia to be able to leverage their more limited budgets to reach a broader audience, and that is what we provide at Visit Florida. So this year, for these two rebound efforts, we invested 50% of the overall media cost. So we split the difference with our partners. So this is just an incredible value that Visit Florida is able to offer our destination marketing organization partners around the state. And then we turn to an interesting study, which is something that we do frequently. It's called the Integrated Marketing Effectiveness Study. And what it does is it looks at travelers' attitudes toward the marketing that we're doing and how it influences their behavior. So this is a really good guide for us as we move forward. And based on this Integrated Marketing Effectiveness Study, it showed that our efforts so far have been very successful in influencing a desire to travel and influencing future vacation planning. I'm not going to go too deeply in the weeds. You can see some of the statistics, but roughly for people that have seen our ads, they generally have a better impression of Florida. They believe that we follow all the health and safety guidelines. They believe that Florida is not crowded, that we're safe and secure. And people that have seen our ads are right around 2 times as likely to plan a vacation here. So with that number, you can see why it's so critical that we are in market right now. And I don't know if you watch TV, but I do, and I will tell you that other than Florida and Florida destinations, you really are not seeing much out there. Very little from other states, almost nothing. So we have this strategic advantage right now of being one of the only states that are actively in market and encouraging visitors. And it happens to be at a time of year where we have this incredible weather and people are just ready to get out. So even though we've suffered through this pandemic, stars are aligning right now in terms of our ability to be marketing at the right time. So looking ahead, we are planning to expand our marketing efforts internationally as soon as borders reopen and travel restrictions ease. We are seeing some visitors coming now from Mexico and Colombia because their travel restrictions are much less severe than some other countries, and so we are happy to welcome them. While the situation in Europe and other areas abroad remains uncertain, we have strategically pivoted our international marketing efforts to make sure that Florida is well positioned and top of mind when the borders reopen. So we've maintained our in-country representation in all of the countries that all of our key markets. So the UK, Germany, Canada, Brazil, all of Latin America, Colombia, Mexico specifically, and I'm sure I'm leaving someone out, but we have not only tried to maintain the relationships that we had, but to try and build some new relationships and strategic partnerships so that as soon as we're able to travel, we can go over and sign on the dotted line with some pretty huge international partners and get Florida out front in the international marketing space. We have had over 40 innovative virtual events in the past few months, including the first ever Florida Fest in the UK and several other events in Latin America. And you may recall that a couple of years ago, we hosted Florida Huddle in Daytona, and that is our signature annual tour operator and travel show. We had to do that virtually this year, but it was incredibly successful. Again, another situation where we didn't know how it was going to go, but we figured we would give it a shot. It was the most successful Florida Huddle that we have ever had. We invited travel agents to participate for the first time, and that was excellent because they were able to interact with a lot of our destinations within the state and learn more about Florida. So we had more than 800 attendees at this conference. Nearly 7,000 appointments were held over 3 days. So that is appointments with travel wholesalers, tour operators, travel agents, buyers of travel with destinations like Volusia in Florida selling travel. And then afterward, I did 40-ish interviews with international media from 8 countries, including the UK, Ireland, Canada, Germany, and Latin America. So enough of that. It was very, very successful. And now we are currently in market today and have been for several weeks with our domestic winter campaign. It makes sense. We call it the bragging season. This is the time of year when people in cold destinations really want to be in Florida. And for the first time ever, we've added 3 states to our existing winter marketing strategy, and we are in market now in California, Oregon, and Washington State. Mainly because we have several new flights from those areas to Florida, and many of the people from California, Oregon, and Washington would traditionally do their winter vacation in Mexico or Hawaii, but those destinations are not readily available to them right now, and so we are hoping and encouraging them to come here. Last week, we launched our Families campaign, which is obviously significant for you all as you get so many family visitors to your area. Florida is the #1 domestic destination for family travel in the country, and our campaign further hones the message that this is the place where families should get together, either individual families or multi-generational families, and come to Florida because we have so many wonderful opportunities for a safe family getaway. And I want to show you our newest ad. I think it's really great. Hopefully it will run. Listen to the text of it because I think that the script perfectly sort of encapsulates what people are feeling right now.
It's time to let yourself explore the wide open beauty of Florida. Cast away your stress and soak up some peace of mind. Say yes to something new, like this, or this, or what's this? Enjoy a little freedom, a touch of spontaneity, and lots of sunshine. Make each day shine exactly the way it's supposed to. Whatever getaway you're imagining, you can make it real here. Because in Florida, it's possible.
So I hope you like that as much as I do. I think it is exactly what people need right now. And anyway, we're just really proud of that ad, and we're excited to be able to support all of you and our state tourism industry in that way. So now let's just ever so briefly turn our attention to the legislative side. We do have a bill this year that is moving through the process. It is a positive one that is fostered by us as opposed to the other way around. So it's nice to be on offense for a change. And what this would do is remove, it does 2 things. First of all, it removes our sunset date. I guess I should recognize our sponsors. Senator Ed Hooper is from Pinellas County. He is a great friend of tourism and a great friend of Visit Florida, and he is our Senate sponsor. Our House bill is by Representative Renee Placencia, and he also, clearly, he's from Orlando. He's a true friend of tourism and a great sponsor. So our Senate bill has gone through 2 committees. Our House bill hopefully will be up next week. But what the bill does is just 2 things. One is our sunset date right now is We are set to expire and go away in 2023. Given that the economists do not believe that we will be recovered by 2024, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that Visit Florida should not sunset in 2023. So we are hoping to go ahead and just remove that completely and allow us to turn our attention to our core mission, which is to do everything possible to bring visitors back to the state of Florida. The other thing it does, and I'm not going to get in the weeds on this, but it would allow us to carry forward funds. And we're just unique from many other state organizations because like this year we had the pandemic and we had to pause all of our marketing, for most of 2020. And so we had significant funds left over. We are able to carry those funds forward, and we did, and that funded our rebound campaign, so thank goodness. But it was kind of a cumbersome process, and so we worked with the governor's office, and they said, look, why don't you just change your statute to make it ultra clear that you can do this? So that is what that is. But that is something that we would like, but it's not essential. Our sunset is essential to have that removed, and so that is what we are working on. I think that's, the budget. Yes, I'm so glad I have a PowerPoint so it can remind me when I think, oh, I'm done. This year we were grateful to Governor DeSantis. He recommended level funding for our organization at $50 million. And we are hopeful that the legislature will agree with him and will provide us level funding so that we can continue to do the good work for the state of Florida. So with that, that's the end of my formal presentation, but I am happy to take questions if you have any.
Well, I think we're getting close on time, but it looks like we've got a couple questions here. I think I see Georgia Turner.
Yeah, I just wanted to say how much we enjoy working with Visit Florida, and a small organization like me that has under $1 million, we can't do it without you. So thank you so much, Dana, for you and your staff, and y'all do a great job, and I just can't say enough about you. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Georgia. Georgia serves on our board too, so hats off to Georgia for her service on the Visit Florida board.
And then Robin Marcus, Boys and Girls Club.
Hi, everybody. It's great to be part of this great conversation. My question is, do you have any idea of how long restrictions are going to be held for various countries, cities, and states?
Unfortunately, my crystal ball has been broken for over a year, and I'm not able to make any predictions there. But we are monitoring, particularly the international monitoring on a daily basis, the border situation. And as I did mention, Colombia and Mexico, we are seeing visitors from those two countries, and we've actually held virtual FAMs, or familiarization and marketing trips, with in-person journalists and influencers from those countries. So, the minute they're able to come here, we're getting them out there and getting them to your destination and other places in the state.
Well, we certainly appreciate your time today and all the good work that you're doing. I would hope that your budget isn't a problem this year, only because people certainly have seen all the work that Visit Florida has done and helping in the recovery. So wishing you the best on that front. If there's anything that we can do from the Daytona Regional Chamber standpoint, please reach out. We're big fans.
Well, thank you, Cheryl, and thank you all for having me today. And I hope your Volusia Day continues to go well.
Thank you.
Thanks.